Alexa, turn on the lamp. Okay. Oh man, I want to just. Ooh, okay. Hi, you see it? Hear me? Yay! I have my new camera on now, so it's my HD. How do I look? Hello everyone. I am clothed. I'm still clothed. Yes, this is all very awkward. This existence that I'm forced to be in. I don't know what's happening with me. It's winter. It sucks. I can't wait till summer come. I met you at the end of summer. Well, spring is next. Okay. I was naked then, but I'm even more naked when it's summer. When it's summer, no chill, absolutely none, zero. People get so tired of seeing my titties, and I don't think they do. I just say that. We'll wait for a couple more people to trickle in, and then we'll get started. I put your bracelets on because they were sitting over here. These are cute little hammer bracelets.
I love hammer.
Me too.
Does this place sound nice? The velvet note, acoustic living room.
That does sound good. Where?
That sounds good.
Oh.
That changed your whole mind.
You see how? I'm gonna come take a bath in your house. It's a full moon tomorrow too.
Sure.
Make your house in the Jeju for the week.
That would be fun. Stop teasing me. When are we going?
I can't go to Jeju until after the holiday and after Super Bowl. There's no Jeju anymore until after February 3rd. It's over. I don't want to go in there with all these foreigners. I know I'm a foreigner. I don't want to be. It's gonna be packed. People that.
Today's only the 20th.
Yeah, but tomorrow is the holiday. You don't go to Jeju on holidays.
Tomorrow is the holiday.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I work from home, so I don't even think about stuff like that.
I don't either. I forget too till everybody want an appointment. That's when I know something wrong.
Yeah.
I'll be like, why does everybody want an appointment on Monday? I'm off
work because they're off work.
I'm off every Monday, so
But they're off.
Yeah.
That's why. But see, yeah, when you're home, I'm like, what is going on? Oh, are we even closed? See, that's what I don't even know.
I'm closed.
I'm talking about
my
company.
Hey, better be in Georgia. If you can't honor Martin Luther King Day in Georgia, where can you honor it? I would just tell them, I just assumed y'all followed directions. This is a national holiday for Black people. Y'all didn't know that? I know you can't
say that. Nothing to me because who's that going to do? I don't know. Anyway, so.
Okay. Week 2. Aligning the sexual and spiritual body.
Oh, damn it.
What? Is that organic apple juice? You'll have to ask EJ later when he tells you what it tastes like. But I got a feeling he ain't gonna say the apple juice.
Who said that?
Bree.
Of course. Why are we happy?
That's a good question. How do I make Bree a panelist? I gotta go somewhere. Participants. Okay, who else is in here? Bree and then Carolina. Allowed to talk. Oh. More promote the panelists. And then Let me promote Amina to panelist. Oh, now we can see you. Hello, hola, hello everybody. Okay, we're still waiting on a couple people. I'm only gonna give them a couple more minutes. It's already 6:06. I do realize it's cold outside. I sent you a reminder email. I don't think I got any messages.
This is how I remember people. Embodying, Bree, Chrissy, Christina were here. Can't remember who was online.
Yeah, how old is that was here? Are they trying to get in the game?
2, 3, 4. That's 4.
Yeah, we're missing 4. We're missing.
Bree's online.
Bree's online. Ty is not here.
Oh, Ty. The lady that was here, Chrissy. And then Ebony.
Yeah. Oh, there she is. Somebody's here.
And then the pregnant lady, Chrissy.
Chrissy. My hooker name. She's not online. Okay, we just had somebody pull in, so we'll let them get parked and then they'll get here and then we'll get started.
That's still 3
Well, this camera made me look buff. I got a new camera. I'm so excited. Like, oh. Let me bring out the other chair in case. Just in case. Oh, who's that in the bed? Bree?
Yes, I'm sick.
Aww.
But it's okay because when this is over, I'm going to do an edible to make me feel better.
Oh, hi. How do you pronounce your name? Carolina? Carolina. Oh, you're on mute. I can't hear you.
There. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Hi.
Okay. Hi, nice to meet you.
I'm Tasani. Nice to meet you as well.
Hi, Tasani.
In the closet, look on the floor in this canvas bag under the clothes.
Oh, that's Chrissy.
Yes, you are. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. All right. So here we are. We're going to get started. And we'll just let everyone else trickle in because I want to be respectful of everyone. Okay. So get comfy, Chrissy. Chrissy, how many locks do you have?
I haven't counted.
Oh, what is going on? Almost y'all not counting.
We just counted mine today.
Yeah.
Counted mine today. 93.
Look at your little belly, just poking out already.
No, not already. Aren't you like 5 months?
Going on 5.
Got anything going on? I don't eat the right thing. I'm just like, I'm 5 months. Give and take.
Did you get a nap, Bree?
No, I'm going to sleep in tomorrow. I'm going to drink tea and sleep.
Yeah. So I'm getting ready to go back and start my lock journey again.
Yeah.
And I wanted 44 locks, but I have a big head and a lot of hair, so it's going to look very freeform. And I started looking at some lock pictures, and I'm like, I don't know if that's really what I want. I think I want a little bit smaller. So I'm trying to find my happy number. I think 6'3" is where I'm going to end up at, or 6'2", one of those two.
It's because I thought about early on taking when I went to start over, I was thinking about doing the twist magnet. They end up being bigger,
Right.
So they still cover. So if you want to do a hardcore and do it like that,
Right. And that's what your loctician recommended, was that I do the twist.
And yours will be right where you want them in no time, since your hair locks overnight.
Mm-hmm. It's locking up here at the top because we got free from the braid. So thick. Yeah, so 44 gonna look different on me than it will look on most people because that means my locks will be like my last time I had 88. But they were still pretty thick. I got pictures I can show you. They were thicker than that. But she has only 93s. It's only 5 more than what I had. And it
look anything like
looks
this?
nothing like that. My hair big. I have an abnormal, I do. I told my mama up on the way out. Not to scare you, I shouldn't tell you that.
I've been looking at newborn babies.
Oh
And I've
my
hold
gosh.
them purposely so I can like hold their head.
And then
Because
my
I told
hair.
my mom, I was like, oh my gosh.
What happened?
But it's not that bad.
Hold
It
on
isn't
one second.
Don't look like it.
My hair is like super soft, so texture's just different.
Okay. Oh, we got somebody else in. Okay, everybody's here. Ty just texted or called, so she may be jumping in, but we'll go ahead and get started. When I was in the military, when I was younger, and this is how I know. People think I'm a kid when I say I have a large head, but in the military, all of your hats are measured by inch, and there was only one size hat larger than me. If I lost my hat, I could never borrow anyone's hat in the military. It would sit on top of my head and I would get ridden up. I have a big ass head and I've just come to terms with it.
It's a beautiful big head though.
It's full of information.
It is full of information. A wealth of information. How has your week been?
Okay, let me just send her.
Did it go by quickly, you feel like? Was it?
Slowly while it was going.
Really?
In the long run, it was too quick.
Yeah.
I know this break is going quick with the holiday being on Monday. It's already Monday tomorrow.
It's already Monday.
Are you working or off?
No.
Okay.
You're off. Okay.
Ty's going to join us now. All right, everyone, we can hear all of you, so that's good. And I'm just going to slide this over. Okay. So today we're talking about the spiritual body, aligning the sexual with the spiritual body. This is the heavy duty work. So I want to get started this would probably give a couple of people some time to trickle in. Also, I want to get started with just some breath. So we'll just do 10 clearing breaths. Breathe. This may be hard for you since you over there sniffling and carrying on. You might need some of this organic apple juice that I have.
I'm about to have peppermint tea.
Okay, good. So go ahead and draw in and breathing deeply in your nose and exhaling out of your mouth. We're going to do 10 nice clearing breaths as a group. Allowing your shoulders to move away from your ear, tension to dissipate from your body with each breath. As you start to get towards the end breaths, allow your mouth to open up a little bit more. Allow your air to come out a little bit more forcefully. Exhaling, drawing your belly button towards your spine. Inhaling, filling your belly up with air. Okay. So here we are. It should be about 10. Did I miscount? Okay. Close enough. I wanted to read something from page 67 of Shakti. I don't know what I wanted to read. It always surprises me when I make notes like this. Let's see what happens. Experiencing praise and pleasure, intertwined with ignorance, disrespect, mutilation, and pain at the first gate, entrance to the yoni, brought me to a deeper presence and appreciation with the lips of love. The pulsing of the G-spot sent me swirling into a maelstrom of rape, violence, abuse, and misuse, with only a monetary memory of any acknowledgement or gratitude being expressed to me in the past. In the first touch of the third gate, Vucatoris, the black rose in the dark river, a shiver of pleasure made way for the horror and pain of mutilation, molestation, and the numbness there that remains. Probably should have came with a trigger warning. Sorry, y'all. Yet I am remembering a raging river of darkness, hidden below the goodness, the peace, the beauty. My power, my fury is not to be tempered. I will burn away all resistance, all hesitancy, and all memory that wants to control my flow. It's time. The journey requires you to unite the light and dark rivers of Shakti. This deeply loving practice of opening the gates is an integral part of clearing the 18 pathways. This culminates in the Shakti circuit, which gathers all the energy to flow up from the spine, from the womb, through the yoni, the perineum, the anus, the base of the spine, and then up through the interweaving currents of the spinal column and into the mouth of the goddess. This that's from the Power of Shakti, 18 pathways to ignite the energy of the divine woman. Before Urban Tantra, this was my Bible. What's that? This is funny. This used to be my calendar. Who does that? Who writes a calendar like that? No wonder my life was a mess. Anyway, this is, it's important to understand that when we move into, I feel like my back is to you now. So when we, okay, let's see if y'all can see me. Let me turn this way so I can see everybody. It's important to realize that when we move into aligning the sexual with the spiritual body, that we have to address our own traumas and how we enter into sensuality so that we can respect the power of our sensuality, respect the power of our sexuality. This is the work for the sex doula in order to go into doing the work. In order to do any work that allows you as the doula to guide someone into a sexual experience, you have to recognize any and all instances of trauma that lie at your gates. You have to acknowledge them. You have to speak to them, identify them, and then remind yourself how pleasure feels in their absence. Because without that, everything that we do is in the shadow of the trauma. All the love that we experience, all the love that we share or offer to someone else, all of the guidance and sensuality and erotic pleasure that we hope to receive or hope that someone else is able to move to will be shaded by the memory of that trauma. And just like your body holds this memory of trauma, holds memories of trauma in every muscle, right? No matter what happened. I broke my leg and hip when I was 7 or 8. That trauma still lives in this right side. It's damaged all the time because it's always in a state of protection. I'm constantly working through that. I'm constantly paying people to work through it because I know that that has to happen. So, not unlike that. Sorry, let me turn this off. I apologize. Oh, no, I don't. Sorry, that was I guess she didn't like Ty's answer. I just got a text. Nothing from the client. I'll talk to you about her later.
Oh, okay, yeah. They want mutual touch, and I don't do that for new clients. I gotta.
Yeah. No,
I
don't do it. I don't do it for any client. So
that's what they asked me if I will offer them mutual touch.
yeah,
I don't need to offer you
sent me a
mutual
text
touch.
message asking me if I had anybody to recommend. No, you wouldn't have got that with me either, though, love. Sorry. Anyway, so that they touch you back while you're touching them.
Mutual. No.
Right. No, you have
we
to.
all on the same page with that.
You have to be in my program for a year before you learn how to touch a goddess.
Thank you. I don't do. So she asked me, do I offer mutual touch? I said, yeah, I can make myself available for tomorrow. I'll go over there if you want me to, or you can come to my spot. That's not a problem. But then she was like, well, do you offer mutual touch? Not for new clients. That's the client that I've had at least 6 months to a year before I will allow that.
Absolutely.
So you want me to come to you and your husband by myself for y'all to do what? Nah. What do I look like, a fucking dummy? Come on, man.
I did not know that's what she wanted until just now when she texted me. We never even got to that conversation.
You know why I'm mandala screenshot? Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, she just sent me one.
She said, yeah.
All right, well, I'm glad we cleared that up.
Right.
So,
Back on track.
Back on track. So let's talk about the divine feminine and the divine masculine. The left side of the body relates to the feminine and the right side is the masculine. Honoring the ability to connect to the divine feminine is an act of worship, not only to yourself, but also to the divine mother. I don't want to go through all this. Sorry, this was from last class, and that's a lot. When you get to the point where you're looking after the divine feminine, and the reason why this sex doula work is the work of the woman, right? I'm glad this class is actually all women, but we get this often where I get the question about the work and as it relates to like can a man be a doula? You probably see it. It happens on my Instagram all the time. Can a man? Doula literally means female servant, right? That's the translation. This work is accessing the divine feminine. Now, yes, we still learn to balance the divine masculine with the divine feminine, but this is not the work of the divine masculine for a couple of reasons. One, this is a gift from the divine feminine through the feminine qualities that the masculine cannot access. This is an awakening to a new way of being with the feminine. This the divine masculine in this role is a support role. He offers support of the feminine in this space. He does not offer the guidance. He does not offer the assistance in that way. Not for this role. He cannot. There's no way that he can. He values and cherishes the sexual energy that the woman brings, and he uses it consciously. But that's his space in this role. And it doesn't, and so it's important for us as women who are interested in learning more about accessing the power of the sexual doula, for us to balance our masculine energy so that it's not domineering, especially in this space. And I speak to myself when I say this, because my masculine energy can really be, it can be a bit much. It can be very domineering. It take my personality is definitely has been shaped. I struggle with the balance of yin and yang because of my masculine energy wanting to overtake oftentimes the feminine energy, because it's easier. It's easier to be thoughtless and it's not in my emotional self, right? We look at all the different types of selves that we are, and mostly we exist in our emotional self as women, or as humans, sorry. and the masculine is fighting off of that. When we have trauma that blocks our pleasure, then we move into a space where our masculine comes to the forefront. Our masculine energy comes to the forefront because it doesn't want the emotional self. It's easier to mask. It's easier to move away from that than to access that. What happens, right? When she talks here about experiencing praise and pleasure, pain at the first gate, the entrance to the yoni, right? That first level, we access that first spot of us, whether we're doing it with ourselves in solo pleasure, that we access that memory. We access any memories that have been stored there. They don't necessarily have to be major traumas, but any memories that are stored there are there. We have to work to remove those in order to move forward in this role. And that's a part of getting in touch with your sacred feminine. That's a part of accessing your goddess, accessing your sexuality, embodying goddess, right? So that you are not shaped, like she says at the end of this, I will burn away all resistance, all hesitancy, and all memory that wants to control my flow. We have to realize that that's what we have to do. We have to light a fire to it. We can't burn away what you don't recognize, what you don't know exists, right? That doesn't happen. So, let's see. When a woman connects to you, as a woman, when you connect to your Kundalini energy, your sacred sexual energy, you'll find that it's healing and life-changing. And these are two areas I want to explore in more detail: giving and receiving pleasure. You have to be able to receive. I used to teach a class called The Art of Receiving. I think we're teaching it again coming up too. I haven't taught it in like 7 years. I'm gonna need your help. But this art of receiving is so challenging, right? How do you receive? How are you able to receive
Without wanting to give
without feeling obligated?
Yeah.
There's no desire to give back. There's a feeling of obligation to give back, right? The desire isn't there, but there's guilt that's there that doesn't allow you to enjoy the pleasure. Now, as a sex doula, if you go into the work and you're trying to guide someone into understanding how to appreciate and enjoy a sexual experience, unlike anything that they've ever heard, read about, or experienced, that is, you're teaching them how to receive. Most of us have to get over that hump because we cannot teach what we do not know. It's impossible. It's impossible.
That'll be a huge class.
Yeah, well, should be.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's hard for people.
It's hard.
So to understand that first, and then figure out how to put it in practice.
Right. And that's the only way you can do it, right? All of this stuff the hardest part about teaching anything is learning it, embodying it, right? It's hard. It's hard work. So when you look at teaching someone, it's a doula, you're their servant, but you're teaching them. You're guiding them into understanding how to sex. They don't know. They've been fucking. Perhaps they've been having some sexual intercourse. But how to experience sex, you got to teach that, right? That's the before. The during, making sure if you're working with them, if they're actually practicing with you, if it's you and your husband or your partner, if it's you and your lover, Carolina, it doesn't matter who that is, teaching them how to get through that process and then being there for the aftercare, right? So you're still in a teaching role. And it's hard for us to become the receiver because as women, we are such natural givers. It's who we are, right? We look after, we nurture, we care for others. And once you start to do the healing work and you're able to awaken your Kundalini energy, then you have this whole new level of sexual freedom, which changes the way in which you give, changes all of that. But before all of that, you need to be able to receive. During all of that and through all of that, you need to be able to receive. So we talk about the sexual body. The sexual body, we're looking at the first and second chakra, your root and sacral chakra. So to first understand, so we're aligning our first and second chakra, which is the sexual body, with our sixth and seventh chakra. Mostly our seventh. The first and second, your root and sacral, you're focusing on the anatomy of the genitalia. You're focusing on the gateways to pleasure for both the man and the woman, or for any gender. Although I will say that, well, the gateways to pleasure change for trans people in a way that I can only speak to FTM. So, or speak not for them, but about them. So I'm just going to focus for the point of this class on male and female body. Understanding the genital anatomy, understanding how trauma aligns with your genital anatomy. It's really key to being able to do the work. Understanding where we are holding, where we have, what we will hold, and where it will be held at. And that is that's a map that you get to study and create, right? That's an easy one. It's not like it's super varied, because we have access points in the on the penis. We have access points in the pussy that align with our body. And so you know where you're at on certain points. I know when I'm working on the heart chakra through the when I'm internally working with the yoni. I know where I'm at on the heart chakra, or when I'm working on, or the heart organ, the heart area. I know where I'm in the spleen and the intestinal organs. So understanding that, developing the study of understanding our bodies beyond what they taught us in the week of sex ed we got in high school, right? Beyond what they taught us in the semester of biology we may have gotten in college, looking at something that aligns the east with the west, that shows you the genital anatomy, the anatomy of the reproductive system, along with the meridians of the body, and being able to figure out how and where we hold trauma, which requires a greater understanding for the chakra system. It requires a greater understanding for energy systems, and all of this is available to us. In learning how to receive or give, we also, within the sexual body, pleasure mapping. We use pleasure mapping as a tool to learn new things about our sexual response patterns. These response patterns change depending on how we are responding and healing our bodies. Pleasure mapping also allows us to figure out how to tell our partners what we want. Mapping is therapy. It's a therapy type that creates reference points. And this is important for us to understand, because as she was talking about the gates, and she goes on a lot about the gates in here, but it's important to realize that we need to de-armor ourselves sexually. We have to, in the removal of, in the work that goes to heal, I won't say removal, the work that goes to heal the trauma, which therefore removes the blockages. So we're not removing the blockages, we're removing the heal. In that work, we take away some of the armor that we have. In that armor, we become disassociated. We have, we're blocked to pleasure, we're insensitive, or we become numb. And in a sexual practice, this is often what we're looking at when we're working with somebody that needs the guidance, right? They become numb, and the sex is an act that we're supposed to do, and so we're doing it. We're not doing it because, hold on, let me bring Evanya in here. We're not doing it because we want to, I'm not speaking to any of us. Of course, all of us are doing this because we want to be filled with love and joy and passion. But when we're talking about working with someone, right? Our lover in this instance is not doing this because they want to. They're doing it because it's something that is expected of them. When we work on learning how to give and learning how to receive, that changes. Because if you're just lying there receiving and you're not in this because you want to access pleasure, then it's impossible. It is impossible to receive if you're not in it for pleasure. Does that make sense to you?
You're just lying there to receive and you're not in it to access pleasure.
You can't receive. You won't be able to. You'll be looking for something else to do. It will be uncomfortable. Uncomfortable to the point that it could, the type of trauma that you reignite could lead you down a dark path. If you're lying there trying to receive pleasure, yet incapable of receiving pleasure.
It's almost like you're itching to,
Right.
like when you're in a conversation with somebody, you're just waiting for a break for you to be able to say something. kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're doing, if you would like in my auto receiving class, I'm doing this to you for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're lying on pins. This is uncomfortable. I want nothing to do with that, right? So we have to work on the mapping as a form of therapy so that we can highlight the areas that are bringing pleasure, and that we can recognize the areas that are tense and that are blocked and that are full of pain and sensitive and hurting. And then we can do some work to heal that. So that when we move into sex, right, we move into the actual expression of sexuality, that we're well enough to enjoy. Also, I want to talk about receiving as not being a passive act. It's not something that you just lie down and take it, right? You are focused on the energy that you're receiving. You're paying attention to the way in which it is coming to you. You're allowing yourself, and this is really the key for us, is that we allow ourselves to fully embody the goddess. What does that mean? Do you think God is trying to give you back something because you prayed to him or her? Is that what you think is happening with a divine being, that they, in some gratitude of your prayer, they're going to give you something back? The goddess is just to be worshipped. But allowing yourself to just be worshipped is challenging. It can be downright, it can be one of the most, if you're not ready, difficult things that you encounter in your life. And nobody around you is going to make it easy. No one. Tasani, what do you tell me all the time?
I'll tell you so many things.
You are so spoiled.
Oh, I do say that all the time.
The embodiment of the goddess.
Yes,
She says it all the
I
time.
do say it all the time.
I'm not spoiled, I'm worshipped.
No, but he's spoiled.
Yeah.
He's spoiled. You are
worshipped.
worshipped.
It's understanding that and embracing the reality that you're supposed to be worshipped, right?
Yeah.
You lie there and you allow yourself to be worshipped. Now, when that's how you receive, there's no obligation. I'm not thinking about, when I get you back, I owe you one, motherfucker. That's not in your head. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what's happening.
Okay, so
Can
you speak to, I'll ask everyone if everyone has received a massage before.
Oh, has everyone here has received a massage before?
Just any kind of massage.
Okay.
Yes.
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 Okay.
So how, because when you're receiving a massage, you are not obligated to do any work. So how do you get people to be in that mindset? That's the easiest thing that I can think of.
Well,
in terms of
okay.
when I'm on a massage table, I'm never ever thinking about how the therapist that is working on me.
Why don't you think about that?
Because it's that person's job to make me feel good.
Because you paid them.
Oh yeah, and I have paid them.
You paid them.
So that soothes you already. That makes
That takes a lot of it away.
The
This is why
obligation
sex
away to
workers.
give anything
This
back.
is why the sacred sex worker is at a higher status than anyone else. Really. Because that understanding the ability to offer and not need anything back, there's no change, there's no exchange. Understanding the ability to receive and not need to give anything back is already ingrained in her psyche. But for the rest of the society,
Yeah, how do you that's what I'm saying. How do you teach that?
You already feel like you've given. You gave them your money.
mm-hmm.
So now you're ready to receive.
Right.
But if you're just like, give me a
Think
massage,
about that.
Yeah.
Here's how you embody the goddess. I gave you my presence. I used to call it the pretty text before I knew what the goddess was. And I used to say, you got it's you're surrounded by pretty women to show up. What are you offering? You want me to put on my, when I was younger, you want me to put on my dress, put on my heels, shave my legs, comb my hair, put on some makeup, and come out so that you can appreciate all this. You aren't offering anything in exchange. I don't get anything back for this. Now, we live in a society, because the masculine has dominated the conversation, that tells you there's something wrong with that bitch. There's nothing wrong with her. She's recognized that she has a value in her presence alone. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's understanding that everyone in the world is paying. How much does it cost to get in the High Museum? It's $15.
I know.
I think it's 12 or 15. Just for you to walk around and look at beauty you cannot even get close to. It's behind ropes. We pay to be around beautiful things. Women are the beautiful things. We are the goddess on this planet. We are the creators. We are a representative of all that is divine walking here on the planet. What our offer back is that we've given you our presence. Now, the kicker is that we have to erase all of the other messages that we've received. And we have to embrace Shakti and understand that this is our reality. We have to stop telling ourselves that it's arrogant. It's not arrogant to understand who you are and understand your power. You will walk into a room, and with those bedroom eyes, the whole room will pause for a second. They will. They'll be like, oh. And they'll go back to work. For that moment, everyone, okay, back to work. Your energy, when you're healed and whole, the type of energy that you are providing, all of that, but you have to see value in that. And what we keep being told is that that's not value. When you see the value in that, then you get to this space where you're able to receive pleasure 100%. You're not thinking about giving anything back. You've given enough. You were here. That's so much. It's but it's so true. Well, you know what they would do in your absence?
Yes.
In your absence, they pay for sex.
There you go.
You leave and you decide you're not going to come around them anymore. They don't have access to you. Then they have no problem going to put a value on it. Go ahead, Ty. I see your hand is up. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me unmute you. Hold on. Oh, shit. What happened? Oh.
All right.
There we go.
You got me?
Yeah.
All right. You know, what you're saying, I just want to thank you and express gratitude for what you're saying, because it's very powerful. What you're speaking to here says to me 3 main points. The first thing is your energy is your commodity. Mm-hmm. Your presence is your commodity. And in order to embody the goddess and allow yourself to be worshipped, you have to believe it. You can't sell nothing you don't believe. You have to fundamentally believe this. And so all of your issues around self-worth is going to pop up. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't believe that you are deserving and worthy on a fundamental level, and then go the step beyond that, which is not only am I deserving and worthy, this is my expectation. If you don't connect those dots, that doesn't come together. And so when you think about the world at large, and the fact that we are conditioned to believe that the things that might make us spoiled are extras, as opposed to fundamental needs of ours and expectations, because your lack of self-worth is profitable to so many entities, then you start to see, you know, it's like follow the dollars, and you see why you don't understand that your energy is your commodity.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So that's just my piece.
Yeah, and when and in this society where this is the society that we live in has been set up in accordance with a plan, and the part of the plan was for us to unrealize our value, to remove the realization of the necessity of feminine energy. So we started to place a very high value on things that were masculine energy. Money is a masculine energy. Currency is a masculine energy. And don't get me wrong, I like that masculine energy in my life, in my bank account, in my purse. But it is a masculine energy. Certain acts that are masculine have a way higher value, even though without them the world would go on just fine. And certain acts that are feminine have a much lower value, and without them the world would cease to exist. The midwife gets paid less than the OB-GYN. And up until 10 years ago, you couldn't find women OB-GYNs. 15 years ago, it was the hardest thing to find in the world. Because no woman, well, they were told not to take the job because you'd be called out at any time of the night. And you know, we needed a man there by our side to do what we've been doing since time started. So we start doing that and we devalue us. We devalue the feminine. This changes that. Where are you at? Okay, there you go. Embracing your inner goddess, allowing yourself to be worshipped, that is a whole different sexual experience. And that is the sexual experience you want to be able to guide people to as a sex being, to, through, and beyond. That is what your expectation of intimacy is, and that is what you're teaching and setting a bar of expectation, not just for them, but for the future, for everyone that comes into the space, into a love space and desires to be with a goddess. You let them know that because of your feminine, divine feminine, that you're supposed to receive pleasure. You have okay, so let's talk about, I didn't talk about sacred space. I'll move that to later. As you start to realize this too, the dusties fall away, the ashies, they leave. And this is no matter what the gender, the ashy lovers leave, and you end up with lovers because you don't, this is, the goddess does not have space for a selfish lover. And currently what's happening is that all of us that are not embodying our goddess are ending up with selfish lovers. The goddess cannot have a selfish lover. It's impossible. You've invited someone into to worship your sacred temple. They can't do that and be selfish. Everybody gonna notice the man that got his arms crossed when the collection plate go by, right? You're offering a tribute. You're offering yourself. You're prostrating yourself in front of the goddess. There's no room for selfishness here. This is only a space for selflessness. And it's important for you to realize that the necessity of this for you, in order to be able to offer this type of love, you have to be in a space. And love is energy. Okay, love is not what they tell you love is. You have to make sure that you are in a sacred space. Make sure that you are in a safe space. Make sure that that's being offered to you, so that you can, so that you ensure that your love experience, the love that you offer, is that great. You need to be able to be in a space where you can surrender yourself to the worship. Questions? Okay. So let's talk about the the sixth and seventh chakra and how we move into them. How we uncoil that Kundalini Shakti, that feminine energy, from the base, from the root chakra on up and out. How we access that. How we allow our sexuality to coexist with our spirituality. So we know that our Kundalini energy, or maybe we don't know, I talked about this earlier, I talked about this in this class, exists in our, it starts in our root chakra, right? It starts at the base of your perineum and it moves up. And that is your life force energy, that's your creative energy. It's also called the energy of pure consciousness. It's your awareness. There is automatically a spiritual connection there. The gateway to pleasure, when you go into the yoni, or for the man, when you go into when you start entering his gateway, which is going to be at the tip of the penis, that gateway moves the energy up. It ignites the energy. It doesn't ignite the energy. I won't say it ignites the energy. It moves the energy. It allows you to access the energy. The energy is existing and moving without you being there. But it allows you to access that energy and move it up. As it moves up, it has to pass through 7 centers of the body, right? So it starts in the root chakra, it moves up. As it moves up, it goes through all of this before it gets to your spiritual realm, right? In the spiritual realm, really, we talk about 7 chakras, but the 7th chakra of the body is really the gate to the spiritual realm, because we still have 2 truly spiritual, truly ethereal chakras that exist outside of that. So aligning ourselves with that, recognizing the divinity allows you to align yourself. Awakening consciousness until that energy moves up into the topmost chakra is what allows you to experience spiritual ecstasy. It allows you to be in a place where your sexuality is in alignment with your divinity. There's no separation. There's no space for judgment or despair or even thought. At that moment, you're in a space that's beyond thought. Consciousness is beyond thought. I'm thinking about something is different than I'm conscious of something. I'm aware of something. You can think about something to become conscious, but that's very different. In order to get to the place where nirvana exists in Tantra, you have to get to the point where you can move that energy up freely. If this sounds hard, it is. If I was able to honestly fully access it all the time, I would have a TV show called Fix Your Sex. Ivania would be not on the air anymore fixing lives. I'd be just out fixing sex. It's coming though. I'm on my way. I'm working on it. But it takes a lot of study and devotion and awareness, paying attention, thinking about this. Is not something that you come to this class. It's an intro class. I'm just, putting the ammonia, the bath salts under your nose. Like, hey, wake up. This is what we are supposed to have access to. The amount of education that has to go in after that is a whole different world. And it's,
Base level.
Yeah, it is. We're talking, so I want you to realize that understanding the study of the chakras, understanding the study of the goddess, getting to the point where you reevaluate the way that we see or the way that we've been taught divinity, because we see divinity. We know what divinity is. But we have these eyes, which are just video players, right? That's all they're doing, is that they're just telling the brain something. But if you lost your sight tomorrow, you would still see. This is just access to, really clear, defined whatever you're seeing out here, replaying of that. But what you see, what you're able to truly see, which is divinity, that's in there. So it's just re-accessing the knowledge that's already in your head, because you already know that this is here, because it's a part of you. Your body is more aware. Your mind is aware of who you are. Your brain is aware of who you are. So getting to the point where you are able to access that information. And a lot of that comes through your sexual awakening, your sexual enlightenment. That's how you merge those two. That means that we have to figure out how to remove whatever we're holding. We have to do regular work. And this is where the part that sucks. In order for me to begin to do the work where I can guide somebody and work as a sex doula, I have to be doing regular work to ensure that I'm healing myself, to ensure that I'm not going into remission, to make sure that whatever memories are there, that they are my own from this life, whether they're ancestral or my own from past lives, that I'm clearing that and working to continuously clear that. That allows me to access my pleasure and my divinity. That allows me to live in a space where I'm working towards true nirvana, get into that space.
When you first started, did you talk to your mom and ask her about any traumas that she might have had sexually?
I didn't ask her. One day
Ask your mom what?
about any traumas that she had. I didn't ask her, but one day I asked my mom if she enjoyed sex. I just wanted to know if it didn't seem like it. And it didn't seem like it because my mother dates and she wasn't giving it up to anybody. It's such a bad thing to say, giving it up. She wasn't allowing anyone access to her sexually. And I asked her, I said, do you even enjoy sex? Because she was getting upset that men were coming to her with the desire, like, all they want is sex. And I said, well, Mom, yes, that's normal. People want to have sex. Do you even enjoy sex? And she hesitated for way too long, so I already knew what the answer was going to be. And that was when she revealed trauma. That was when I learned that, no, she didn't enjoy sex. She didn't enjoy sex because she never thought about sex as something enjoyable. Sex had a function. She brought 5 children into the world. She got married because she was able to have sex. But outside of that, her first marriage was a shotgun marriage to her rapist, essentially. So the trauma that's there that had to be unpacked, and then things had to make sense, right? As to how I learned about my sexuality and my divinity and my own genitals from my mother, who had no access to any pleasure of her own. And we continue these cycles, right? And then we go out and we have relationships, and they don't know, because it's been we're really looking at the first generation or two removed from shotgun weddings. Like, up until that, it was normal. It didn't matter how it happened. You got her pregnant, you're gonna marry her. So I understand that, but I also understand that my grandmother, I just, there's so much history in my family that I'm aware of, and how we got to this space.
And being aware of that, you feel helps you now?
I feel it helps me understand. Yeah, it helps me understand a lot of things. It helps me to do a lot of ancestral work, and to continue to do that, to honor the divine woman in my female lineage who were not able to honor their own, to create a space for them to see that divinity that I embody as a product of them. You know, my grandmother is no longer here, but as you know, like you and we talked about this last week, you're carrying, well, you have a boy, but when you're carrying a child, you're carrying your grandkids too. And so knowing that that trauma was a part of me, right? That's in my DNA, and to resolve that is important. To resolve that, because that can shape the way in which, like you, that, well, I haven't suffered through any trauma at all whatsoever. My life has been great. No one's ever touched me in any way that was inappropriate. I love my life. It's perfect. I don't know why I don't like sex.
Grandma.
Right? First of all, it could be them, but it also, this is not your first time around.
It frozen. It froze.
Yeah, it looked like Amina froze.
Yeah.
And nothing is new.
There it goes.
Everything is recreated. My internet is unstable. What's going on? Hold on, y'all. I'm having connection issues. Just 1 second. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay, good.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just to understand that nothing is new. When they say nothing is new under the sun, they mean you too.
All recycled.
So we are coming in from a space where we don't know where we came from fully before, unless you go into some deep shit and try and access who you were before. Now we can do that. I have a ton of mushrooms that can help you open up that gateway, but but to get there on you, just to wake up one day and be like, I know who I was, that's not how that works. So yeah, that was a long way to say, yeah, I did find out about trauma, unresolved trauma, which is the worst one. That's the one that keeps coming back. I can resolve it right now and not have it go on. It doesn't have to show up. Right? Diabetes doesn't have to run in the family. I can stop all of this, but I have to do the work. I have to learn how to release the energy. Okay. I just breathed deep, and that's what I did. That's not what I was supposed to do. All right, so let's go back to where I was at before I got distracted. I'm missing some notes from this one. I apologize. I'm trying to make sure I have everything. This is not all the notes from this class. So as you align the spiritual with the sexual, as you get to the point where you heal that, then you allow yourself to heal others. Then you allow yourself to move into a space where you can help them experience their own divinity. That is important. Our sex is designed to be healing, right? It can be a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it also has to be healing. It should be healing. Not just in the like woo-woo way, like, you know, that we often speak of, but in actual scientific, measured ways, sex is healing. Pain is the opposite of healing. If you are in pain of any type, mental, spiritual, emotional, physical pain, there are things that when you go to the doctor, they can measure and let you know that you're in trouble, you're in danger. Your blood pressure will go up. Your pulse rate, your pulse ox is different. It's usually too fast, right? Always, you have little signs. Your stressors are coming. You get migraines. You see spots. In Chinese medicine, they can look at your tongue. There's all these indicators that show us that how pain of all varieties is affecting our physical body, shortening your life, essentially. Your heart is designed to beat. It has a specific number of heartbeats that it's designed to give you. I don't remember what the number is. You are going into stress. You're going into an emotional stress, physical stress, through pain that is shortening the lifespan of your heart. That is shortening the lifespan of your energy cycles, how that moves in your body. Sex heals that at the very, very minimal level by providing you with pain relief. Not just physical, but that's one of the ways. It gives you some oxytocin. But also through other ways, right? It allows other chemicals to be released in the body. It allows your serotonin to be increased, right? It allows your mental pain to be at ease when it's done right, not just in general. It can be done totally wrong and do the opposite of everything. So understanding that, how to make sure that we're offering a sexual experience, that we're guiding someone into a sexual experience, that we're teaching someone about the healing aspects of sex, so that when we move into a sexual space, when we create a sexual space, move into that sexual space, we know for a fact that we're going to come out, what? Better than we'd entered. If you're coming out of sex worse than you entered, then you're creating additional trauma that now you're going to have to go and resolve somewhere else. And if this is your lifestyle choice, then odds are you're not going to do it. If this is their lifestyle choice, then they're not going to do that work. And so what's going to happen? We see what happens. We're going to have a community of people who are fucking each other, masturbating each other, and hurting each other further inflicting more pain, more mental, emotional, spiritual pain on each other, physical pain. Furthering the expansion of disease, not just of the body, but of the mind and of the spirit. So this sacred feminine energy that we use to heal, to guide as a doula, allows that to dissipate. We are magical beings that get to heal the entire community just by forging forward with this information. Does that make sense? Great. Hold on one second. Let me just pull up my other file. Does anyone have any questions? I can't hear you if you're talking. Hold on, let me look. No, y'all good? Yes, go ahead. No, ask.
So for us to fully dive into this practice, we would need to attend your workshops and complete the series of classes that you provide.
So for the sex doula is the level 2, where we really go over all of these. We break them down one by one. How to align the sexual with the spiritual body, how to guide someone to an orgasm and then through the orgasm, all of these steps, first starting with the self-work that we have. But yes, that is level 2, so that comes after level 1, which is what we were teaching earlier today. So we started at level 1, and that really, for a lot of people, I mean, I have some experts in that class. I have Ty Shaw in that class. Ty Shaw, I learned from her. Why she's in my class, I don't know.
I'm here because you're brilliant and you are giving the food to the people, honey. I'm in it.
So in that class, we it's all levels, but a lot of it, for a lot of people, it's the first time around, right? A lot of folks are learning about the chakra system for the first time. And that's great. But we have to learn that. We have to take in that morsel first. We have to learn about ourselves, what is bringing us pleasure, who we are, why we're moving into any type of sex, what sex looks like for us, how do we define it, how do we shape that. We have to do all of this self-work and then learn how to touch somebody. Not just in the way that we've been touching, but in a way that offers something.
It's back. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
My Wi-Fi froze.
In a way that offers something healing, in a way that nurtures, in a way that is loving, and moving to that. How do we touch ourselves? getting through all of that. And then also in my class, what makes my class kind of different than the rest of the classes out there is in my class, we also teach you how to make money. Because if it don't make dollars, then it don't make sense. I mean, you can do all this and work, all of this, no matter what, to me, no matter what, whether you are in this business, like you're going to actually be a professional sex doula, or if you are going to continue with whatever work that you have, you are not going, like you could be a clerk at Target. I don't care what you do. If you are not accessing your divine feminine, you are always going to be struggling. And it don't make no sense to do that. So you don't have to go do the work as a sex doula, but you do need to learn how to access the power of the creative force that you have within you so that you don't stay at that cash register for the rest of your life. Some people will do that. I see some 60, 70-year-old cashiers. They've been doing it all their life. They're fine with that. They don't know any better. But once you start getting these morsels of food and you start knowing better, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You have to access the divine feminine in order to move forward in a successful way that is healthy. The other option is that the masculine overtakes and you go that route, but that's not going to be healthy for you. It's going to require you to do a lot more work and neglect the emotional self. And then we see what that looks like. We see how that shows up in women. So those are your options. So we do the first 10 weeks to get you through that. And then we move into this so that you can learn how to love, how to be and guide the lover. And then the third 10 week is to teach you how to embody the guidance. Any other questions? Cool. I want to hear a little bit from each one of you about the embodiment of your own inner goddess, your own priestess of sacred sex. What does that mean for you? What does that look like to you? And time will make you go last because you're gonna make everybody else like, I don't want to go up to her.
You ain't right. You ain't right. You know I support the sisters.
Oh, you just rolling around with bottles in your purse?
Let Tasani go first.
Oh God, what now?
Let Tasani go first.
Oh,
No, it's really not. It's ginger beer.
no. Tasani, you going first, everybody said.
I didn't even.
Look at volunteer you.
I said, I want to hear from each of you I want to hear what the embodiment of the goddess looks like to you. What is your embodiment of the goddess look like? And even if you're not there, even if that's not who you are today, but it's something that you're working towards, I want to know who is she? Who is this embodiment of the goddess? What is your sexual priestess do? What does she look like? What does she offer? Not a whole 2-page report, just succinct paragraph will do.
What has she offered?
Who is she? Who is your how do you access this?
She better be in a whole different room.
She did.
She peeing and she talking to us.
She's not. She went to refresh her organic apple juice.
Oh, okay. All right. Makes sense.
Let's see. What does she look like? She is fearless and confident. And am I on the right track? Is that what your question? Okay, I just want to make sure I understand the question. Okay, so so some of these things I feel like I exude already. And some things I feel like I'm on a path to gaining. So she is confident, she is fearless, she is constantly learning and being able to share with others. Her energy and presence is welcoming, and almost gives off an aroma that draws people to her.
Okay.
Sorry, you said not too long.
That's good.
To me, she looks like.
Can you face it towards her, please?
I don't know how people perceive exotic dancers to be.
Oh, I
Some
love
of
them.
the men,
I said, oh, I love them.
okay.
Go ahead.
But some of the women that I've come into contact with, they're not intimidated by men. So they can look you in your eye and give you a sexual feeling, and they're not intimidated by that. Like, if anything, the men look down or they walk away or anything like that, because
That's
they're
my goal
walking in
always.
there. Yes, like they're not afraid of who they are and sharing that power with other people, and they're not ashamed of it either.
I lived in the Muslim tradition, and we were taught to lower our gaze, both men and women, at each other. And I no longer lower my gaze, but my goal is to always have them lower theirs. So I try my best to always give them that look that you talk about. I like that answer. Okay. I like your answer too. It's so spoiled. Bree.
From doing sex work, I got used to the massage thing. Somebody got paid, somebody offered a service. So I was always like equating the sexual.
Can you talk a little bit closer to the mic?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So because I did sex work, I always equated money with whatever act, and like I had to do it, so it was a responsibility or not responsibility, but obligation. So now I am learning that that part of I don't always have to do something back or owe something back. Just like when you were teaching the squirting class the other day, and I'm like, oh, I know how to make myself squirt. So when I'm with somebody else and I need to do it, I just do the things that I need to do to make myself do it, so that they don't even have to do any work. It just makes it that much easier. And you're like, hold on, no, seems like you're at work, not being worshipped. So I'm learning that like I'm holy and I'm super important and amazing. So I don't always have to, my sex isn't work all the time. So I'm learning that.
Okay. That's important to realize that your sex isn't work. Now, you can be, but even if you're going to be a sex worker, you still have to have a space where your sex isn't work, right? You still have to have a space where you don't embody, that you're not always offering. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You're always giving. Even if you're giving in exchange for your rent or your bills being paid, it's still a giving. It's still a give. What are you getting back? Because that's a lot of emotional energy that you're giving. And we just want to make sure that, the goddess doesn't just give this energy out, that without having a return. There's has to be, you're already giving your energy, right? We talked about, you're already there. So making sure that you're not dumping everything that you have, your presence, your sexuality, your sensuality, your eroticism, your energy, your divine gifts. Here, you can have it all, just so that I can be with you. What am I getting back? Is their presence that divine?
No.
Carolina? Oh, wait, let me unmute you. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
There? Okay. So I envision the goddess, or what I would envision her, is her emotional, her spiritual body, her physical body, her sexual body are in alignment. She addresses her traumas and works through them and realizes that self-growth is a path and not a destination. So this is going to be a constant. She knows how to ask for what she wants. And this is from last week, because it's been my motto for the whole week. She's divine and deserving of a pleasure-filled life.
Yes. Beautiful. I like that mantra. It's my favorite.
Yes.
Divine and deserving of a pleasure-filled life.
Yep. I'm making a t-shirt.
Yes, or a t-shirt. Go ahead, Ty.
Oh Lord, I don't really have an answer for this question. I'm gonna have to riff off the top of my head, man. Because goddess worship for me is in the form of sex work, because to me that's a form, that's a technique on how you approach divinity, right? Mm-hmm. For me, goddess worship in the form of sex work is an offering. It's me offering an opportunity to participate in the externalization of my inner devotion. It's me extending an opportunity to connect to divinity. That's why it's a sacred act for me, because in order to embody the goddess, you got to be a medium. You got to take that energy in and allow her to work through you. That requires a level of, spiritual submission. You understand? Because when you get into this work, in my opinion, you know, and it's just my little opinion, you know, you could disagree, but you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, when you get into this work, the people who are truly called for this work are reincarnated priestesses that still need devotees, that still need to serve a community. Ain't no priest without a parish. You understand? So that's my answer to that.
Okay. And Vanya, I wasn't ignoring you, but I did not see your face, so I almost forgot about you down there. Go ahead, Vanya. Oh, there she is. Okay.
I was walking up my stairs, going into my space. I am almost in the building. But for me, the divine goddess embodies my voice. It's in the way I speak. It's in the way that I move. It's in the way that I show up for myself. She is so fucking pleasurable. I always am prioritizing my pleasure. I am always talking about that every single day. And she's magnetized. I mean, things draw to me. So
Vanya, I'm gonna draw you to me. I want your energy around me.
Yes, I wanted to come tonight, but I was like, man, I couldn't make it. She's magnetized, and it's in how I look, and I'm naturally a healer. I naturally feel. So when people get around me, my sex is healing. It's so fucking healing. I don't even have to touch you. I just have to sit near you and fucking breathe and be present. And you find this amazing healing, and that's what she is. She's confident, and she's fearless, and she's joyful, and it feels good. And that is who my goddess is, and I am with her all the time, every day, and she's just like all around. So yeah.
I'm so glad we saved you for last.
I'm out of breath. I'm like, I just walked the steps.
You know, that's what. So Tanya just said that's funny. I said some of the same things, but I didn't say it with such excitement. The goddess is not sitting with you. The goddess is with her all the time. It's like,
oh my goodness. I don't take, like, when you were talking earlier about, like, the goddess doesn't work with selfish lovers. Like, I always thought that it was a problem for me, because I was like, I would get rid of people easily. I'm like, why the fuck are you draining my energy? Like, I am here to be pleasured, and you're going to put me up on this pedestal because I desire worship. And so, and my family would always make fun of me and say, you know, you just get rid of people like you throwing away trash. I'm like, but I'm not benefiting, so there is no point. If I'm not benefiting, then why should I keep them around? I'm going to get something out of this. Listen. So yeah, she is always with me. She is always in my essence. Yes. So thank you.
I love that so much. Okay, perfect. I think that's a good understanding of who the goddess is. All of these answers are right. Accessing what you want. And like I said, she doesn't have to be with you. Divine is the living embodiment. She's working with the goddess. Ty is working. Ty is on the path. She's working with the goddess. Ty is in the work. Ty has devotees. Some of us are there. Some of us are working to get there. Some of us are going to get there, and then we're going to be there, and it's going to be overwhelming, and we're going to step back and be like, holy shit, that was a lot. And then you're going to go back to some other shit, and you're going to be like, fuck this. I'm going back over there. Like, this is how this works, right? We don't
Real talk.
Yeah. So it don't feel like, well, I want that. I want what we all want that. We all move right back. We ebb and we flow. And we have to realize what, when we speak about ourselves and what we desire, being able to speak about your goddess is a part of the path. Being able to speak about what she does, how great she is, how you are embodiment of that, how everything that you deem worthy is already who you are. In fact, worthiness is defined by who you are. Understanding that and moving forward with that. And then eliminating anyone in the pathway or that refuses to acknowledge that. That's also really important. You know, there's a reason why Muslims don't go to the Catholic Church. They don't worship the same God. They do technically, but they have different pathways. So, you know, you get there differently. You're not going to be at my church. You're not going to come to my church where you're required to bow 5 times a day and think you're going to be in here for a 20-minute sermon and get consecration. Like, that's not going to work. So you have to make sure that you understand who she is so that you can move with that energy. Because that's the energy that guides. That's how you align your sexuality. Once you realize that, then you say, like Evanya said with such fervor, like, my sex is healing. It's amazing. And you ain't even got to get none. It's so good that when I sit next to you, you like, goddamn, right? Understanding that power is how you fix all that other shit that we keep in those lower 2 chakras. All that unpacking, all that shit that we have down there that doesn't serve us. And allowing us to release that from our space. That's what we have to do to get to the point where we cross over and carry people with us. I'm going to come guide you into this sexual experience. I can't guide you into a sexual experience before I'm at that space. Before I realize that that Rihanna song, Sex With Me, so that song. When that song came out, I was like, ooh, that's my anthem. Yes. But you have to get to that point where you realize that, because then how can I come tell you I'm going to guide you to the best, most healing sexual experience you're going to ever have, that you've ever had in your life. I'm going to show you how sex is healing. Well, my sex is a B-, or when I believe it's a B-, when I'm treating it like it's a B-. You know, I have to treat it. I have to know. I have to believe. Like Ty said, you cannot sell what you don't believe. Mm-hmm. I can't come to you and show you something and I have no faith in it and convince you to buy it unless you're real gullible. I can only show you what I know. I can show you what I know with that enthusiasm that we just heard. And you want some. I want to sit next to Vanya. Mm-hmm. She done convinced me. That was her 30-second speech. I want to sit next to her after that elevator speech about the goddess. And that's what we want. Okay? Any questions, thoughts, afterthoughts, shares, revelations, hopes? They all mute themselves. So.
This has been validating for me because it helps me realize that because I get a lot of negativity from people who think I'm just being selfish. So it was really validating to hear that I deserve to be fucking selfish, and I deserve to have people in my space that only benefit me how I want them to, and that it's not some weird thing to do. And so it was really validating to hear that. So yeah, I appreciate that. That was a word. I was snapping my fingers when I was driving when you said that. Yes, absolutely.
Honey, this is straight up church. I'm gonna need you to get #pussy church. Sundays, honey, Church of the Panani, whatever we calling it, because this ain't nothing but the good word, honey.
What'd you say, Bree?
Pussy pastor.
Pussy pastor.
I love it.
I love that.
Naughty none.
Get that on t-shirt.
Naughty.
We get some of those t-shirts, pussy pastor. Yes. All right. Well, that's all I have for this evening. I'm glad that you all were able to join in. If you have any other questions that come up next week, we're working on guiding the lover to and through orgasm. That's a lot. It's understanding. It's a lot of understanding. So get ready for that.
You have what?
Go ahead. It's so bad.
So if you had to give one, you did that earlier. I was going to say, if you had to give one book reference of class, which one would it be? Would that be it?
I think for this class, yeah, The Power of Shakti. I mean, like I said, this was before I found Urban Tantra, I found this book. And I just love this book. I haven't read it in a long time. I pull it back out for this class because it sits on a bookshelf. I'm sure Ty already has this on her bookshelf. I'm 100% positive. I don't have a book here. I don't
I'm
think.
not talking to Ty.
Yeah, everybody else. But understanding, they talk about the 18 pathways to ignite the energy of the divine woman. Those are the 18 pathways to pleasure. Right? We access our divinity through our pleasure principle, and so I really like this one as my recommendation, just to start to understand. This changed my understanding of my pussy, really. It changed the way I saw myself, as far as like, I mean, I've been a sexual being since I got that book in the mail in 1991, whatever that was. When I ordered the Encyclopedia of Sex in high school or in junior high school. I think I was in 8th grade. And from that moment on, I thought I was ready. I studied cover to cover. I learned everything they talked about, and I was ready to go try this new stuff I had just found out. So I've always been a sexual being. I had no idea.
Not idea, huh?
Idea. I was out there. I was enjoying myself. I was I know from a very early age when I found out that girls, like I was in high school talking about orgasms. Like, what do you mean you're not having one? Because I thought that was just what we were supposed to do, was go get an orgasm. And it took a while for me to have pleasurable sex because my cervix is tilted and I have a shallow pussy, and I didn't understand that. But outside of those two things, I was doing just fine with frottage or what do you guys call it? What was the word you guys told me frottage was?
Tribbing?
Huh?
It's not grinding or tribbing? No, frottage.
Grinding. Well, somebody had another word for it. I can't hear you, Bree.
Hunching.
Yes, that's what I do. I hunch.
Frottage sounds so much better. I don't know what this is. Y'all should have got the Encyclopedia of Sex when y'all was 14 like I did. Frottage.
The other way, because I look like a dog humped over. So it's definitely. Yes, definitely.
But for me, it was enlightening for me to hear a conversation about my pussy and sex that didn't require an obligation. Because sex, while I could have an orgasm, that's a lot. That's just about all I was getting from it.
And that's what that book did.
And that was what this book did. This book changed that. It allowed me to see a little bit more than that. And even because I got this book after the study of Tantra, I still was like, yeah. I get it. But I wasn't, first of all, I was studying a very neo-Tantra, which in Hawaii, and it's very, 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 very male-dominated and white Tantra. So I feel like when you look at folks like the Source Tantra and all those folks, it's about relationships. It's not about, to me, it's not as much about a relationship with yourself. It's not about understanding how fucking amazing you are. And so I wasn't coming from that perspective. I was looking at pleasure, and that was definitely changing the way in which I understood pleasure. But it wasn't changing the way in which I saw myself raised up. So I was in a space of receiving pleasure, but still in a service role. And this book helped to reshape all of that and open my eyes to other books and other knowledge and other teachers, and it introduced me to Margot Anand and other, like, oh, okay, this is, and I never thought about, learned about, heard about much about sex magic. And so that changed a lot about that, my ability to harness my own power and to cast my own spells with my own words. And so that changed a lot. So that was a long ass answer. I could have just said this book. Any other questions? Okay. I want to encourage you all to touch yourselves. Tasani's timer has not gone off all day. I'm annoyed.
I'll get back on track.
But I tell y'all last week what Tasani has going on with her timer?
I'm putting it back on right now.
So Tasani has a pleasure timer. So every hour on the hour, it goes off and she has to touch herself.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
And I think that what will be good as we get ready to study about how to lead someone to and through orgasm is that for the next week, perhaps you set your own pleasure timer.
Every hour.
Every hour, but if that seems like it's a bit much, which I don't think it is.
It goes by quickly. It makes you realize all the things that you have going on in the day. The hour comes up quickly, but it's okay. It really does. But
listen, yeah. Do you know the names of the ladies in our class from the morning class?
All their names? Yes, you want me to?
No. What's the young lady that was sitting to the left of me? She lives in Georgia, and she's tiny, and she had on gray. And you brought her to the front of the class to touch her to show us something. Huh?
Pantoja.
Listen, I don't have to touch myself. When she was touching me earlier, felt like a little fairy was dancing all across my body. So I'm gonna have some dreams and some thoughts in the shower.
Oh.
It was this girl and
snorted. Okay. You are a habit. Still touch yourself.
Right.
And just remind yourself of that little fairy dancing all over you. The book is $13.13 on Amazon. Ain't no useful.
Much better than the $50 book.
Look, honey, you stop complaining about that book. You need that book.
Usually it's like right here where we do a different, it'll say new, used, all that other stuff. Like
yeah, that's
right
weird. I guess ain't nobody letting go of it. Okay. You know who I've learned recently who often has better access to use books in case you're looking for is Barnes and Noble's online. Yeah, so I sometimes, if I see a book and I don't see it at a good price on Amazon, I'll just put it in my search engine and let it pull up. And usually in Google, it'll pull up a variety. Oftentimes, the lowest price is going to be on Barnes and Noble. I've been finding that to be the case lately. I think, yeah. So, all right, go touch yourselves. Go balance your yin and yang energy. Go study on yin and yang, and study on, especially on your first and second and sixth and seventh chakras, so that you have a better understanding on how to bring them into alignment. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be in my email all day tomorrow and available for questions. Okay.
Thank you.
Yay. Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Right.